Breaking news, as Warner Brothers has told us that they are stuck with AH in Aquaman 2. Not that they want to keep them on, they are stuck with them on Aquaman 2, which means they expect this to flop because even though the head of Warner Brothers, the big boss themselves, has demanded there be changes, they can't have those changes. See, right now, the budget for this movie is $205 million over production. I mean, that is a staggering amount of money that is already invested in it. They would need to invest more to remove AH from this. And again, removing her is still not going to net them the money that they need to make this thing succeed. So they're telling you, hey, we expect this to fail. We think that this is going to impact everything going forward. The message in this is loud and clear. Now, this explains a lot of current moves too, like the talk about scrapping the Aquaman franchise, moving forward to number 3, removing Jason Momoa, and more. You and I, we're going to talk about all of this and so much more today. Crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Man, when you read between the lines on what's going on at Warner Brothers right now with Aquaman 2 and with other things, you can see a company that is panicking. They know Aquaman 2 is in a lot of trouble. They know it's going to cost money to try to fix this. Why? Because you got to remove the problem. They know exactly who the problem is, but unfortunately for them, they can't fix this problem right now. Why? They don't have the money to do so. I mean, that's crazy, right? Now, the mainstream media knows exactly what this means, too. They know exactly what caused it. They know exactly what it means for the movie and the franchise. But places like Variety, the ones that broke this, they are huge AH shills, so they don't tell you that in the title, no. But when you get into the article itself, and this is buried at the end of the article, number 1, you find out who's making these demands. This isn't some small fry at the company either. This is Warner Brothers co-chief themselves stepping in. They're telling Aquaman 2 director James Wan that he's going to have to shut down this spending. He's going to have to reduce that reshoot budget for the Maritime sequel, which is ballooned to over $205 million over production. I want you to think about this too. If you spend $205 million here, plus you usually double that for advertisement, it's going to take $800 million to try to break even. Now, Warner Brothers has all but told you that they know that there is a problem too, and a big problem at that. I mean, they pushed this movie back all the way to December 2023. They've tried to distance any headlines at all from AH. They try not to talk about the movie, and they wanted reshoots. The problem was, and you could tell that this was going to be an issue, that kept bringing up screeners. Old material. That told you they were trying to cost save there. And now, well, listen to this. This is where they get stuck with AH. A few weeks ago, the new management of Warner Brothers made a call to director James Wan to tell him that the budget he originally had for those famous reshoots, and he announced this on Instagram, by the way. It's verified by him that those were coming. But that budget, it's going to be reduced, and reduced significantly. This is in new accordance with the new management that is putting order and reviewing costs of their projects. So many of the scenes that were going to be reshot that included supposedly all where she appeared was going to be replaced outright. How is she going to be replaced? Don't really know, but those can no longer be carried out. According to the information from Variety, the current financial restrictions at WB, they could benefit not in the long run. Again, this is going to cost them the franchise itself, but in the immediate, she still stays in the movie, as all the scenes she filmed would make it into the new film here, which is scheduled for December 2023. Now, this explains other things that we've heard about Aquaman Aquaman as well, like Jason Momoa being removed from the franchise. And if you remove Jason Momoa from Aquaman, removing Aquaman from Aquaman, putting him in a new role, that says you have no faith in the franchise, you don't expect it to go forward, and there's only one reason that could happen. That reason, well, it's clear as day. That would be AH and the 5 million plus people that have been talking openly about them not seeing the movie unless. But listen to this here. Jason Momoa to be Lobo and not Aquaman. As per a bombastic report published by The Hollywood Reporter. Again, remember The Hollywood Reporter? Just like Variety, they are a huge AH shield. For them to say anything like this at all, that tells you a lot about what's going on. But they say Momoa's next outing is Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. That could be his last, but not in DC as a whole, as there are reportedly plans for him to play Lobo. The outlet says, quote, the actor would wrap up his days as underwater hero Arthur Curry in The Lost City, due out December 25th, 2023, which would be the final movie release that would be made by the previous regime. So that would allow them to clean their hands of everything that went on. They could also scrap all of the stuff with AH. They could basically move on to a new chapter, get rid of that, get rid of the other bad press with other actors as well. That would actually benefit them quite a bit. But it would not spell the end of the actor's involvement with DC, with sources saying the actor would lead another movie or a franchise. The character Lobo, a foul-mouthed, cigar-chomping, intergalactic bounty hunter, has been mentioned in connection with Momoa. And Momoa, by the way, said, hey, these days there's a lot of talk, a lot of excitement under the new regime. I might get my dream job here. His dream job, well, Lobo. That makes sense, right? Now, what's interesting is that James Gunn, he tried to do damage control for all the subjects that came up about Warner Brothers. But you know what movie he didn't mention? Aquaman. And if you look at all the signs from Warner Brothers, from the old regime and the new regime, it looks like they don't have any faith in this thing at all. If you look at the Aquaman movie site, for example, this is verified on Twitter, so this is an official page. They have abandoned this thing. They haven't posted since February. That wasn't about that movie. This one wasn't about that movie. In fact, they haven't talked about anything related to Aquaman here or really a lot of places at all since October 16th. 2021. That's back in DC fandom, and that it failed spectacularly. It's crazy, though. A franchise is burning down. They would have to spend tens of millions of dollars to rectify this. They don't have the money. Yeah, I thought this fire was bad that AH was making, but man, it is so much worse than anyone ever thought. But anyway, let me know what you think about this, and as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Stuck with her. Who would have thought, right? Check out the links in the description, too. And as always, like I say, appreciate you. Gonna end here. See ya.